All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome. So today we're talking about solving equations involving an absolute value. This is lesson 2.5. Please make sure you're on page 107 and have your bell work out. Let's get started. So please make sure you guys answer this down, and we'll go from there. All right, I do have this written out already for you guys, so let's talk about it. Hopefully you guys got the answers correct, okay? So, first step, subtract 5 from both sides. When you do that, you get 3w plus 3, and then you get 0 plus 15. Then you got to get rid of the 3. Subtract 3 from both sides. 3y equals 12, divide by 3, y equals 4. Distribute, 4x plus 12, combine like terms. Then you come bring it over here and we do our divide, okay, our split up. So draw the line down the middle and start working from the variable first. Move it to that side, the 4x. So you'd have 3x minus 7, 0 minus 2. Okay, then when you simplify it, move the 7 over to here. 5 equals 3x. You solve it up, you get x equals 5 over 3. And then last but certainly not least, distribute and then combine the like terms here. Split the wall. W equals 6. All right, so today we're talking about, we have a bunch of mathematical practices we're working on, 1, 3, 4, and 7. And we're also going to be covering at least 3 standards. A lot of them have to do with the same thing we covered on the previous lesson. But we need to keep moving forward and kind of continuing to learn about those standards. We solved equations with variables on both sides in the last lesson on 2.4. Now in 2.5, we're going into absolute value equations, okay? Kind of simple stuff. Some of you at the beginning, you guys learned this last year, but let's get started. So when a equals a number, so what you're going to do then is you're going to plug that number in. All right, and then when you plug that number in, you just solve. So 5 minus 7 is negative 2 plus 15. But an absolute value means what? That this number always has to be positive. So since this is positive 2, you're going to end up being 17. Okay, this is 2 plus 15. All right, so now what I want to make sure you guys do is just do this next simple one on your own, the guided practice. All right, now the guided practice, make sure, because you guys don't have this label, make sure you put the GP and it's still on 108. Nope, I mean 107. 107, okay? Evaluate it, plug into 2. So it's 23 minus absolute value of 3 minus 4 times 2, okay? We know that is 8. So it's 3 minus 8, the absolute value, which is negative 5, okay? So the absolute value of negative 5 is going to be 5. So it's going to be 23 minus 5, and that's going to turn out to be 18, okay? Hopefully that's what the answer you guys got. Let's move on. On the top of page 108 now, you guys will see this box, and it talks about the expressions, absolute value equations, how to solve them. When solving them, there are 2 cases to consider. The expression inside is positive or 0. The expression inside the absolute value symbol is negative. So remember, it's going to be 2 expressions, a positive and a negative one. Okay? So let's talk about that. So if you guys look back at the box real quick, the example is right here. The absolute value of D, sorry about that. Absolute value of D is 10, and it's actually negative 10. Okay? Because it's an absolute value, it can be both a positive and a negative number. So let's solve this. So when you write these out, okay, you start off like this. 2x minus 1 equals 7, and then I'm going to go way over here. 2x minus 1 equals a negative 7. All right? That way you get your positive and your negative number. So when you move going forward, all right, you add 1 to both sides. Solve the equation like you normally would. To be 2x plus 0 equals 8. Okay? And if 2x equals 8, the next step would be to divide by 2. So x equals what? X equals 4. All right, the next one over here, we want to add 7 to both sides. I mean, why did I put 7? Whoops. I mean, this should be a 1. It's just a bad 1. That's a 1. All right, so it's 2x minus 1. Okay. What you want to do then, ladies and gentlemen, is add 1 to both sides. So hopefully you guys caught that earlier. 2x equals negative 6 divided by 2. X equals negative 3. So there are your two numbers. And then what you can do, ladies and gentlemen, is just pick points on the line. So I'm going to label this negative 3. I'm going to label this 4. And then somewhere in between here would be like 0. It doesn't really matter, okay? Just make sure you know your points on the line, okay? Next, this one, p plus 6 equals negative 5. Here's my question to you, ladies and gentlemen. If it's an absolute value, can anything inside this absolute value equal a negative number? The answer is no. No solution, okay? Your turn, ladies and gentlemen. Try these. All right, this is guided practice now on page, this is the second example on 108. All right, split these in two. So it'll be y plus 2 equals 4. Y plus 2 equals negative 4. Then what you do, ladies and gentlemen, is you do your simple math. Split it in half, okay? Minus 2. Minus 2, you get y plus 0, and then that would be a 2. So you end up basically with y equals 2. And on this side here, subtract 2, y equals negative 6. So there are your 2 points. So then again, drop a point on the negative side, and then you go somewhere over here, drop a point on the positive side. This equation, absolute value, can it equal negative? No, it cannot. 0, no solution. By the way, that's not a 0. Okay, sorry, that is it's kind of an annotation figure. Look like this. Say no solution. Okay, cannot be a real number. All right, the average temperature in January in a northern Canadian city is 1 degrees. So always write that down. The actual temperature for that city is about 5 degrees warmer or colder. Write and solve an equation to find the maximum and minimum value of the temperature. Okay, so what the equation is going to be is it's going to be an absolute value. And what the absolute value is going to be is T for temperature minus 1. The reason is let's think about this, okay? When you do the math on it, if I put 6 in here, 6 minus 1 equals 5. Is that a correct statement? Yes, it is, okay? As an absolute value, if I were to rewrite this equation as T minus 1 equals negative 5, okay? If I did a negative 5 like that, like you're supposed to, add 1 to both sides, add 1, what would your equation be? T negative 4. So what are the two temperatures? 6 and negative 4, okay? So please make sure you guys understand how to write these equations, and then that you would go from there. Write it as you see it. Your turn. All right, same kind of concept, so hopefully you guys got it, okay? That if something needs to be stored at 5 degrees, and the allowance is 5 degrees, okay? That you would basically, ladies and gentlemen, what you need to make sure you do is as you go forward, that this is an absolute value, okay? So since this is an absolute value, you need to split the equation. T minus 5 equals 5, and then T minus 5 equals negative 5, all right? When you split it, then you solve it. Add 5 to both sides. What are you going to get? T equals 10. Subtract, and then if you add 5 to both sides here, what do you get? T equals 0. So what are the two temperatures? 10 degrees and 5 degrees. And of course, in a simple case, just think about it. If you're at 5 degrees and your tolerance, minimum maximum is 5 degrees, of course it's going to be 5 minus 5, 0, and 5 plus 5 of 10. But what we're trying to do is make you guys understand this is simple stuff. But as you guys, if any of you guys go into regulatory business where things have to be stored at a certain temperature, you're going to have to write an equation and kind of remember those things. Like, For example, one of the company I used to work for, we had allergens that had to be stored at a certain degree, and you had a variance, a tolerance, that you could go above or below that tolerance. And so when you would ship something out, you would get it right at the lower level of tolerance for coldness. Because by the time it arrived at its package, you'd ship it 2-day air, you'd have to make sure that inside, okay, the temperature remained the same, because it's going to go up, but that it would stay and not go above the threshold, okay? So that's the same, that's a real world thing that's happened, okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to do the harder part, which is create the equations itself, all right? Write the equation involving an absolute value for this graph. Absolute values, if you guys looking on page 109, you'll see a perfect example of how to do this and what it's talking about, okay? So what we need to do is find the middle ground, all right? This is -4, okay? And this is 6. So what I do is, if it's on a number line, is you can kind of trace your steps backwards. So if I'm going to here, I go 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. Now I'm in the middle. But what point is in the middle here that's missing? That would be what? 1. So the absolute value equation is going to be starting at 1. So we're going to have x, all right? And it's going to be, so in this case here, the middle point is going to be 1. All right? Now, what is the tolerance? The tolerance, ladies and gentlemen, is how many units we go from here to here. So if this is 1, this is 6, what's 6 minus 1? That's your equation, ladies and gentlemen. So let's figure it out. Let's test it. If I put a 6 in here, okay, 6 minus 1, does that equal 5? Yes, it does. If I put a -4 in here, -4 minus 1 is a -5. Absolute value of that is what? 5. It works. Your turn. Oh, look, I even left this up just in case. Oh. And we got it right. If you guys want to pause the video and look at this, you can. Just so you guys know, they kind of have a little explanation and a beautiful little graph. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it's your turn. Try this guided practice, please. All right, last but certainly not least, if you guys look at your book, you'll see this. This is GP for guided practice. If you want to spell it out, you can. On 109, okay? All right, let's find the points in the middle. So it's 17 and 27. Now I could do the finger thing again. Just here, 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 here. Oh, there's your point right in the middle. So we know we got x minus 22. All right, that's our point. Equals, what was the distance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're done. What you can do is simplify and try it if you want. So if I put a 27 in here, 27 minus 22 is 5. If I put a -17 in here, -17, or a 17, not negative, 17. 17 minus 22 is -5. The answer is 5. Okay, the point for you guys is making sure if we have a question like this on the test, is that you find the middle. So count in, okay? Use your hand if you have to, all right? It's not really that difficult to do. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this lesson. The homework will be in the comment section, okay? Please make sure you guys check that. Or if it's not in the comment section, reach out to your friends and they'll give it to you. So we're almost done with this chapter, ladies and gentlemen. I look forward to seeing you guys in class next time. And if you have any questions, as always, please come see me in school.